What's up, Pastor? What's up, my niggas? This is gonna be like a special personal video. I'm gonna talk about addiction today. Addicted to weed, crack, wet, heroin, alcohol, any kind of addiction. Like I told you, I'm a 30-year addict. I only been clean 8.5 years, coming up on 9 years. I know niggas that's been clean for 10, 15, 20, 25 years. But I know niggas that's been clean for 20 years and did the oops, I relapse. I know niggas that's been clean for 20 years and relapse. But first of all, remember, on this channel, I don't talk about it if I can't go inside the spiritual action going on in the Negro's mind, because there lies the problem. So let's just get something straight from the beginning. I don't give a fuck what the European says in their psychology books, in their classes. Addiction here is the inability, right? If you got know somebody in your family that's addicted to drugs, alcohol, wet, heroin, pornography, it don't make a difference. Addiction is the inability to stop listening to your motherfucking self. Go to Genesis chapter 3, verse 6, 7, and 8. Let me break this shit down for you, Pastor. Because see, you was talking about addiction. You was talking about addiction, and you didn't know what the fuck you was talking about. You really didn't. You gonna have a motherfucker keep falling off the wagon fucking with you. Because ain't no nigga no new creature. Ain't no nigga no new creature. If you're a new creature, then you should be able to have a burger and a beer then. An alcoholic, if you're a new motherfucking creature, you should be able to have a burger and a beer on Sunday and watch the football games, but an alcoholic can't do that. Because the madness and the insanity will start all over again. You ain't no new motherfucking creature, nigga. You think you're a new creature? Go smoke some wet then. You've been clean for 5 or 6 years. If you're a new creature, you shouldn't have the same result. Go smoke a wet joint, a lace joint, nigga. You ain't no new motherfucking creature. Addiction is the inability to stop, you ready? Listening to your motherfucking self. Go to Genesis chapter 3, verse 6. Get there, nigga. This is when the serpent was talking to Eve. All right? Genesis chapter 3, verse 6. And after the serpent got through having its discussion with Eve, it says Eve seen the tree, that it was good for food, pleasant to the sight, and a tree to be desired to make one wise. But guess what the key word is? Ready? And she took. Did you catch that, Pastor? And she took. That represents you reaching forth your hand to do some shit. That in which that you said you weren't going to do no more. Did you catch it? Addiction is the spiritual action that goes on in your brain. Did you catch it? When it says, after Eve said she seen the tree was good for food, pleasant to the sight, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, and she took. That represents the action. You've been clean for 5, 6 years, 5, 6 months, swore up and down, made promises to your family, oh, I ain't gonna do this no more. And then all of a sudden, after this action has taken place, you reach forth your hand. You doing the same thing Eve did in the garden. And they talking about this is some shit that happened 2,000 years ago. It's a spiritual book that's happening right now in the present, nigga. About a bitch. You don't know what the fuck you talking about, Pastor. But watch this. Notice how when you go to Genesis chapter 3, verse 7, it says, and their eyes was open. Both of them. And they knew they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves to make them aprons. Go back to Genesis chapter 3, verse 7. And both of them, their eyes was open and they knew that they were naked. Stop, nigga. What's the riddle behind this? Watch this, Pastor. Let me show you the riddle. When it says, now they was always naked. The only thing that changed was their perception. I'm going to say it slowly, niggas. You can get about the European study Bibles, nigga. Watch this. If they were already naked, and it says, in the both of them, their eyes were open, and they knew that they were naked. But they were already naked. What's the riddle? What God was telling you was this: is their perception of what always was changed. I'm going to say it again slowly, Pastor. Their perception of what always was changed, which represents your perception of reality, motherfucker, is distorted. Reality is reality. It's your perception of reality that's distorted. And watch this. And when it says they sewed fig leaves together, fig leaves, well, where that come into play? Watch this. Whatever wisdom or whatever they had digested in the form written here in scripture as fruit, which represents wisdom. A lot of study Bibles, you know, the smart motherfuckers who wrote the study Bible says this is when man gained his consciousness. That's bullshit. Man always had to have a consciousness. To do the will of God, you had to have had a consciousness. Your consciousness, Adam and Eve's consciousness that they had before they partook of the forbidden tree, was the consciousness that they had was only supposed to do God's will. But once they had acquired the other consciousness, which is self-consciousness, that's why they viewed themselves differently. That's when self-conscious came into play. And when they got the self-consciousness, guess what they self-consciousness, that smart ass intellectual shit. Guess what they did when they heard the voice of God walking through the garden? You ready? They hid themselves. This newfound wisdom, this newfound knowledge made them hide themselves. It moves you away from God because you think you a smart motherfucker. But let me show you about the fig leaves, Pastor, because this is a doozy right here. Watch this. You say you ain't gonna do something. You ain't gonna cheat on your wife, smoke wet, smoke crack, smoke heroin, get pissy drunk. Watch this. Not only do you do what you say you're not gonna do and wake up the next morning fucked up like, damn, how could I do that? But you're gonna do the same thing over and over again. Watch this. This is the fig leaves. That same brain that got you going back and forth to jail, going from relationship to relationship, because you a motherfucking addict, nigga. You get a job, you can't hold one. You just fucked up. That same sick-ass brain, you ready? That same sick-ass brain tries to come up with a solution. That's the deception. Listen up, Pastor, and learn something. The same brain, this same sick motherfucker that had me on drugs for 30 years, that's why I stayed on drugs for 30 years. But here's the deception. That same brain will try to come up with the solution. That's the deception. You can't drink brown liquor, just drink clear liquor. 3-4 years roll by. You can't drink liquor, period, just drink beer. Just stop here and get a 20-cent bag of dope and go home. I'll be out 4 and 5 days. That same brain, here's the deception, of trying to come up with the solution. Don't you get it? That newfound wisdom that they discovered, that made them hide from God, that had them view reality differently, that same brain said, hey, go sow some fig leaves. Go put something on to hide your nakedness. That's your brain. That's your diseased brain trying to figure itself out. Oh, I'm just going to do it like this. I'm going to read some self-help books. But guess what's strange about fig leaves? You ready? They're going to dry up and blow away. They was going to be naked 2 or 3 more days down the road. Do you follow me? Every time your sick-ass addict brain, your alcoholic brain try to come up with a solution, notice you fall right back again into your dilemma. That represents the fig leaves. They was going to cover themselves up with something that was going to drop and blow away. And then they was going to be naked again. Do you see the metaphor? Do you understand? You spoke about addiction and you don't know what the fuck you talking about. About a new creature. About a